have gotten myself in a very stupid position as far as an independent woman. If I were to leave or want to leave right now, I would have no estate. I have nothing to leave to my kids. My hands are completely tied because everything I have asset-wise has everybody else's name on it too. Honestly, I gave half the proceeds from my house in Vegas to Robyn to help purchase this house that she's in currently.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, November 14th, 2022, and let's talk about this bombshell that Janelle revealed during what felt like a throwaway clip of this episode, because this was after the whole argument where Kody and Robyn and Mary are horrible and they walk off and they cry and it's after that. So this chunk of this video, and to me, it's like the most telling because she tells on them. She flat out tells on them and reveals that Kody and Robyn are financially basically taking money from her, and now she's trapped. They've trapped her in this situation where she's dependent on them. She can't leave, and she'll have no assets or anything to her name. And that's how Kody, I believe, is maintaining control of her. They've trapped her and exploited her to a point. And it truly shows why, when I've said in the past that this is trafficking, I believe this is an evidence very much of that, of why the women are vehicles for money for him to meet his own financial goals. And his goal was to buy a mansion with his favorite wife and leave the other ones stuck in squalor. I mean, okay, listen, her RV is not squalor, but she has nothing to her name, and it's because of Robyn and Kody stealing her money. So let's dive into this clip because it's a doozy. Before we do, can you do me a very big favor and give this video a thumbs up? If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I'm getting super close to 300,000 subscribers, which is my goal by the beginning of 2023. So please consider subscribing, and also ring the bell and you'll get notified of all new. Always leave a comment if you have something to say. Let's dive into this. So Kody and Janelle are having a conversation about bringing electric to the property, right? So Kody's all like, well, I just had my meltdown and it's been a week. And Janelle's all like, yeah, I mean, we've all retreated into our houses and I can't figure things out. The timing of this is very odd because I feel like Christine moved in September and she's saying it's the middle of August. And Christine said on that argument she was leaving in a week. I don't know when these actual things happened, honestly. But I feel like this is like a teen mom situation where they take one clip from like 3 months ago and they try to piece it into the storyline somehow, even though it's not true. Anyway, so she's on her property and she's concerned because she can't get electricity into the RV because it's an empty land. And it opens up this dialogue about the finances in the family.
So I had planned to move up to lot 3, which was going to be Christine's lot, for the winter. I know what it's going to look like. I can visualize it in my head. I want this.
We have to pay off the property. We do not have the means to pay off the property. Therefore, we cannot get the lots organized the way we need to.
Okay, this was like a very high level because I don't want to show you the whole conversation, but she's got this idea, right? She's going to build a casita. She's got plans being drawn up. She's got an idea of what it's going to look like in her mind. She can get a building permit if she wants it. The problem is she wants to build and stay on a lot that's not really subdivided properly, and she wants to stay in Christine's lot. Christine has a lot. It's one of those two big pieces, and she already gave it to Kody, right? And Robyn, and now she was going to stay in that lot, but she can't because they can't subdivide it. Meaning, if she were going to stay on the property, she'd have to stay on somebody else's piece of property. She would have to get permission to do that from them, and it sounds like they're not going to do that, right? And Kody's like, well, she can't do this build because we don't have the money to pay this off, right? So she believes that they have the money to pay this off. She believes that there's money to pay this off, and she believes that they just aren't using the money. And Kody is saying, we don't have the money. And Kody was like wanting the money from the sale of Christine's home to give to Janelle. I feel like Kody behind the scenes has been stealing money from his wives. And this is just like it's a Ponzi scheme, right? He is robbing Peter to pay Paul. So he gets money from one wife, he owes money to another wife, and he's just had this pot of like where he's getting all of his needs met, but he's taking money that's designated for something, using it for something else, but with the hopes that, well, this thing will pay off this thing. And he's always behind this way. And now that exploitation has landed Janelle in a very precarious situation because she can't build, because there's a loan out. And I have to point out to you that the only lots that Janelle owns have loans on them. So she has no equity at all in this land. She has no equity and she has no home. She has no assets. Everything, all the assets, all of the pieces of property that don't have loans or the actual physical assets that they own are in Kody and Robyn's names and no one else's. Kody and Robyn have finagled this so that the other two wives have no other assets but have liabilities. Janelle has the loan. There's liabilities here, and they bear a part of that. And Kody and Robyn Kody, I believe, is the one manipulating this. And it's so that he and Robyn can get what they want. These two women are now vehicles of money for him, and she's going to explain what happens. Because just remind you, she has no place to go, and Kody doesn't seem to care.
He was mad when I went from my first rental to my second rental, even though the second rental was much bigger. And he was mad because it wasn't as nice. He has a house that he lives in up on the hill with Robyn, and it's really nice. And I have nothing. So I'm trying hard to build myself something here.
She's telling on them. She's telling on them. Kody has never been engaged in the housing that I've had. He didn't like it when I moved from this house to this house. The first house, remember, it was too small. Remember those comments? It was too small. And then the other home was too old. It was big, but it was too old. And so she has nothing. He's never cared where she lived. He's never cared about what she does. He spent a whole lot of time. Remember when Robyn needed a rental and instead of getting a new rental, they went and bought that mansion? And remember at the same time, Janelle needed a place and he spent no time trying to help her. He's never spent a lick of time or concern worried about where Janelle ends up, even though Janelle has a minor daughter that still lives at home. And at the time had multiple minors. I mean, Gabriel was still at home and he was a minor for some time and he didn't care. He didn't care. He only cared about where Robyn was going with the tender-aged kids. And she's literally saying, I have nothing. He's got this big-ass house that's really nice and I have nothing. He's been using her money for him to have a cushy life. And now he's lost Christine's income. And he's lost a lot of it because she was making probably decent money with her different LLCs, and I'm sure the money that from the show, they have to pay her separately now. So he's lost that pot, and now he's got to scramble. And she wants to build, and he's such a elitist. He wants nice things, and she doesn't have a nice place, so he doesn't spend time with her. But then she tells on him and says that they took money from her.
I have gotten myself in a very stupid position as far as an independent woman. If I were to leave or want to leave right now, I would have no estate. I have nothing to leave to my kids. My hands are completely tied. Everything I have asset-wise has everybody else's name on it too.
Okay, she's not quite there yet where she explains how they stole the money, but the fact that she says this is that she has put herself in a really stupid position for being an independent woman, and that if she was going to leave, she can't even leave because she has no assets in her name. She has nothing. Kody explains that when they bought the property in Coyote Pass, he was invested, but they had to buy a house for Christine and then they had to buy a house for Robyn. They didn't have to buy a house for Robyn. He bullied and pushed Robyn to buy a house. Robyn did not want to buy that house. Do you remember how much they fought that season? Because she said that she would be taking money away from their plans to build at Coyote Pass. And he pressured her and he manipulated things and he basically said, you have to do this. And she did. And how did he get that money? He got it from Janelle, and she'll explain that in a second. But she has nothing to show for it. And then the other wives are like, well, you know, we have our names on assets and this and that. But Janelle is saying, if I wanted to leave, if I was going to leave, I can't. She's trapped, but she's thinking about leaving. She's thinking about the next step. And Kody is all like, Janelle makes decisions without talking to me. Mary's all, well, we don't really care if we own assets because we're all working as a team. And Robyn's like, everyone has assets. It's great. But everything is literally in Robyn's name. So, but Janelle's thinking about leaving. Did you hear that? I have nothing if I want to leave. That's not a woman that's thinking about, why would you say that if you're such a happy marriage? Why would you say that if you weren't considering leaving? She's thinking about leaving and she realizes she's screwed and she knows she's trapped.
Honestly, I gave half the proceeds from my house in Vegas to Robyn to help purchase this house that she's in currently. We also at that time pulled a lot of money from the joint family account to help get her into that house. We have a family account and the same amount of money is in it as when we bought Robyn's house. And I'm like, we did for Robyn, we did for Christine. Why can it not be my turn?
So when Kody talked Robyn into buying that house, do you remember he said, we'll be fine, it's not going to take away money from us building, it's not going to do anything, it'll be fine, this is an investment for our future, we'll rent this out. And I remember thinking, you're going to spend $1 million. I mean, it was like $900,000 on that house, and they think they're going to build. Do you know how expensive it is to build in Flagstaff? It's really expensive. It's like twice the amount of what they'd spent in Vegas. But in order for him to buy that house, he didn't have the money. So what did he do? He manipulates and exploits Janelle and gets her equity and has her give money to him for Robyn to buy the house. So he uses Janelle to get into the home that he knows he's going to be at the most, to get the home that he knows that he wants, because you know he's not staying with any of the other wives. He wanted the mansion. So he's like, I needed the house. And Janelle gives him the money like a fool, and then they deplete their joint family account, which again was supposed to go to building, to buy Robyn this house that Kody had to have because Kody stays there all the time, and she has nothing. And now that she wants money to pay something off, she thinks there's money. She thinks that Kody has the money to do this and he's just not doing this, right? She says, well, we have the money back in this account. It's at the same amount it was before we depleted everything. But it's interesting because Kody then says they don't have the money. She's like, I want my turn. And he's like, it's not your turn. He stole money from her with no intention of giving it back. And now he literally doesn't care. And he's probably trying to kick her out so he doesn't have to deal with his bad decisions. He's stealing money from these women. And they think they're doing this for love. And it's trafficking. They're giving him money. And he gets what he wants and their needs aren't met because he's the priest.
Well, it wasn't a matter of finding the money for Christine's house or finding the money for Robyn's house. It was a matter of having the money. Now we don't have the money. And in order for her to start building on this land, we have to pay it off.
I want to know how there's this discrepancy about her saying that the amount of money in this account is the same as it was when they depleted it the last time, with the belief that they've somehow built it up again, right? So if it's back in there, why is Kody saying that the money is not there? Does she see something that he doesn't see? Has he used that money for something else? Is he lying publicly and saying we don't have the money? Is he lying to her about the amount of money that they have? Because he says we don't have the money. Where's the money then? She says you guys have it. He says we don't have it. Is he lying to Janelle? Janelle seems like the type that would have the access to the bank accounts to know what's in the bank. But I feel like he's either lying to her and saying he doesn't have it because he doesn't want to give her the money, or he's spent it on Robyn or something else for himself, like his businesses, because he doesn't have the money. That's why he was so mad about Christine moving, because he needed that money. And he lost that money. And that's what this whole thing is about, is it's money. So many of you guys have said it's about money. He needed Christine's equity. He needed that money so Janelle could build, because he used her money for something else. He's stolen money from her, and now he's like that investor, that Ponzi scheme guy that doesn't have the money to pay back the investor, and the investor's coming calling and saying, I need my money now, my return on investment, and he's saying it's gone. Like if Janelle were a smart woman, she would go to the cops and report this because it's fraud. But she won't because she's brainwashed, and it's sad. But he's going to then already tell you what he's thinking. He's already set the stage in the last thing that Janelle's taking Christine's side. He now is going to say that it's too late now. It's too late for them to find a place to nurture their relationship. This relationship is over. And as it gets further and further, he's going to keep trying to push her out. I guarantee you.
I needed a place where I could actually nurture a relationship with Janelle and Savannah. And it's too late. We already have the RV.
And I'm not asking him for any money except for the money that the family has pledged to pay off this property when we first bought it. But that's all I'm asking is for him to honor that commitment, for everybody to prioritize that. And then after that, I don't care.
So what Kody is going to do is he's going to blame her for buying an RV without talking to him first, right? She spent a lot of money on that thing and it wasn't a good decision. But she probably thought, well, I have the money and we have this X amount here, so it'll work. I can live here temporarily and we can do this. She never should have bought the RV. But she probably bought the RV, in my estimation, believing that it might be her only asset and it's the only thing that she might own if she were to leave. So she would have something in her name. Now, the problem with an RV is it depreciates and it's not a permanent structure. And it's like owning a really expensive car, right? You don't look at a vehicle as an asset. She wanted to be on the property because she thought it was going to make her motivated to buy this. And Kody's like, well, now it's her fault because she bought the RV. Well, she's like, I just want the money that you promised me. And he's not giving her the money because he doesn't have the money. Now she had to take a loan out. So now not only does she have a loan out on her RV, she has a loan out on this property because there's literally no money for her. So she's got a loan for an RV, loan for a property, and there's no money to build. And Kody knows that. And she's trapped and she wants to leave. What I think is interesting is if she wants to leave, does she want to build so that she can sell the house so that she has money to leave with? Or does she want to live there? She says, if I leave, I have nothing. Why would you say that if you weren't going to leave? Kody has stolen money from her and made promises to her that she can't keep, but he will blame it on her decision to buy an RV as the reason why he has to push her away and the reason why their family has fallen apart. They don't communicate very well, but I think she was already trying to find a way out, and it was like her last-ditch effort maybe to try to get something done. Maybe it was like her testing the waters. I don't know. But he did financially exploit her. He took her assets, her inability to build, and he's trapped her. And he's probably been doing this to her for years, which is why she's stayed for so long. Because he doesn't care about her housing. He doesn't. So Kody and Robyn are using the women for money. Kody is. Robyn's just a willing participant because she wanted the money when she married Kody and everything that went with it. She wanted to be a kept woman. So she's okay with Kody exploiting everyone else as long as she gets her stuff. It's gross. This is like a pimp taking money from his women that are working for him. And it's disgusting. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.